Okay, so have you ever, walked out of the IELTS feeling pretty good about most of it, but then there's that one section that just kind of sticks with you?
Oh, yeah, definitely. I think we've all been there, right? Like you're so close to that score you need, and it's just frustrating.
Totally. And today we're diving deep into something that might just be the answer for those of you in that situation. The one skill retake option for IELTS.
Yeah, this is all about working smarter, not harder with retakes. Instead
Mhm.
of going through that whole exam again, this lets you just zero in on that one specific area where you think you could do better.
Exactly. So whether that's listening, reading, writing, or speaking, you can just kind of tackle that one head on. And that's what we're here to break down today. How does this one skill retake thing actually work? Where can you even find it? And most importantly, could this be your secret weapon to finally hitting that target band score?
Absolutely. And we've gone straight to the source for this, the official IELTS websites and all the details they have out there.
Awesome. So let's get right into it. What is this one skill retake all about at its core?
It's all about giving you a chance to really focus on improving just one skill. You've already sat through the whole IELTS. You've shown what you can do in 3 out of the 4 areas. This lets you concentrate all your energy on the one that might be holding you back.
Makes sense. So you basically retake just that one module, and if you manage to bump up your score,
Exactly. You get a brand new test report form, that TRF, and it'll have that shiny new score on it. And of course, your overall band score gets recalculated too. But here's the catch. You gotta have already taken a full IELTS test to be eligible. And yeah, like we said, it's gotta be just one skill at a time, no picking and choosing a bunch of sections.
gotcha. So it's not a total free-for-all,
Mm.
but let's get down to brass tacks here.
Oh.
Where in the world can you actually take advantage of this one skill retake? Is it everywhere?
If only. Unfortunately, no, it's not a universal thing yet. Australia, they were the pioneers. They kicked it off at the end of 2022. Since then, it's been slowly popping up in some places, like a few centers in Canada, the UK, and bits and pieces of Asia. But it really comes down to where you are, the specific rules of that country, and even which test organizer you're going with, the British Council or IDP.
So for our listeners out there dying to know if this is an option for them, what's the first step?
All right, step one, get yourself over to the official websites. That's IELTS.BritishCouncil.org and www.idp.com, howevernax.com. Find the section with all the IELTS info for your country. It's usually tucked away somewhere in the booking area or general info pages. But here's the biggie. Just because you see it offered by one provider in your city, don't assume the other one's doing it too. Always double check with the test center itself just to be absolutely sure.
Location, 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 right? All right, so we know where to look, but who can actually sign up for this? Are there
Um,
any specific eligibility requirements?
Oh, yeah, there are a few hurdles to clear. First off, you got to have done the full shebang, the complete standard IELTS test. Whether you did academic or general training, it's got to be from an official center. No shortcuts there. Then there's the time limit. Usually you're looking at retaking that single skill within 60 days of your original test, but sometimes they'll stretch it to 3 months. So definitely check with your local center on that one. And another important thing, it's got to be the same type of module. So if you did academic first, you got to retake academic, and same goes for general training.
Okay, so same module,
Uh-huh.
same test type within a certain time frame.
Yeah.
Makes sense. And we touched on this earlier, but just to reiterate, it's just the one skill per retake, right?
You got it, one at a time. No going back for round two on another skill until you've gotten that first retake out of the
All
way.
right, so let's say you've ticked all those boxes.
Yeah.
What's the actual process like from signing up to test day to getting those new results?
Okay, so ideally you'll stick with the same test organizer you had for your initial test, British Council or IDP. Keep all your details from that first test, handy things like the date your candidate number and that original TRF. The registration itself is pretty similar to signing up for a regular IELTS test, but this time you're just picking that one module. Now here's a little heads up. Those slots for one skill retakes, they might be a bit harder to come by, so plan ahead, book in advance if you can.
Good advice. And then what about test day itself? Do you still go to the same kind of test center? Is it the whole 9 yards again?
You'll head to a regular test center. Yep. But the best part, you only got to deal with the one module you're retaking, none of the other sections. Just focus on your chosen skill.
Love that.
Yeah.
And then once you survive that, how long do you have to wait for the results? Or what do you actually get?
Well, you'll get a brand spanking new TRF. That's the test report form. And if your score for that one skill is better than it was before, boom, that new score goes on the TRF and your overall band score gets adjusted accordingly. This new TRF, that's your official record from here on out. But here's a pro tip check. If the places you're applying to, like universities or immigration offices, will still accept your old TRF if for whatever reason your new score isn't higher. Policies can be a bit all over the place, so it's always best to double check.
Ah, that's a really good point to make, especially for something as important as IELTS scores. Okay, so we've talked about the process, but let's talk money. Is this going to save you a decent chunk of change compared to retaking the whole IELTS?
Oh, absolutely. It's definitely lighter on the wallet, which is a huge plus. It's not going to be like a quarter of the price or anything, but you're usually looking at somewhere between 50% to 70% of what the full test would cost. There are still admin costs and all that. But to get the most accurate pricing, hit up your local British Council or IDP center.
Makes sense. Now, we've mentioned the British Council and IDP quite a bit.
Yeah.
Are there any major differences between them when it comes to this retake option?
At the heart of it, the rules are pretty much the same. IELTS is a joint venture after all. The main things you'll notice are differences in where they offer it, like one might have it in your city and the other doesn't. And then there's the nitty-gritty stuff, the registration process, their online portals, deadlines, things like that. Even the exact time window you have for retaking after your first test might vary a bit. And the examiners for this speaking test, they could be different depending on where you are. But when it comes to the actual format of the retake test and how it's scored, it's all standardized.
So it's more about the logistics and practicalities that differ rather than the test itself. Got it. So for anyone out there seriously thinking about taking the plunge on this one-skill retake,
Yeah.
what are your top pieces of advice?
All right, here's the golden rule number 1. Lock down that retake window with your local test center. Don't leave that to the last minute. And this one's super important. If you're taking IELTS for something specific, like uni or immigration, make absolutely sure that they'll accept a TRF from a one-skill retake. Before you do anything, call them up, check their websites, whatever it takes, because it would be a real bummer to ace the retake and then find out they don't recognize it.
Ugh, yeah, that would be the worst.
Right. So then once you've confirmed all that, it's time to get laser focused on that one skill you're retaking. Honestly, treat it like your only subject in school for a while. Really drill down and target your prep. And be brutally honest with yourself. Is this retake really the best way to get to the score you need? Or would you be better off retaking the whole thing or maybe focusing on improving a different skill first? It's all about strategy.
That's such a good point. Sometimes we get so fixated on one thing, we don't see the bigger picture.
Yeah.
Okay, so are there any potential drawbacks or things people should be aware of before they jump in?
Yeah, there are a couple of things to keep in mind. Look, there's always a chance, however small, that you might actually end up with a lower score on the retake. And remember, that new TRF, that's usually the one that's considered official. So that's a risk you got to be prepared for. And then because this whole one-skill retake thing is still relatively new, the test slots might be a bit more limited. So get organized, plan ahead, book early if you can. And hey, policies can change, so always double-check everything with your local test center. Make sure you have the most up-to-date info.
Excellent advice. All right, so just to sum it all up for everyone listening, in the one-skill retake, it's a chance to focus on improving just one of those IELTS modules after you've already taken the whole test. Usually you got to do it within about 60 days or so. It's going to be cheaper than retaking the entire IELTS, and you get yourself a brand new TRF. But remember, availability is not guaranteed. So your best bet, your first point of contact, is always your local British Council or IDP office.
Exactly. It's a really targeted tool, and it could be a game changer if you're just a hair's breadth away from your goal in one specific area.
So I want to leave you with this. If this one-skill retake was an option for you right now, which skill would you go for? And have you actually checked if it's offered where you are and if the places you're applying to will accept it? It's definitely something worth investigating. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into the world of IELTS retakes.
My pleasure. Always happy to help demystify the IELTS.
Until next time, good luck with your studies, everyone.